With the AAA gaming scene not only delivering questionable titles quality-wise, but also questionable finance models with more microtransactions than game content, the indie gaming scene, roguelikes in particular, is growing stronger, and while AAA games now have prices similar to houses in the 1920s, a great amount of titles and enjoyment can be found for a reasonable price of under $10. So here are 10 games under $10 you've probably never heard of. Starting off with Godless, a turn and grid-based auto-battler which sees us place units on the battlefield to defend our shrine, while we use a handful of spells to strengthen them, change the terrain and take down the enemy waves to punish the unfaithful humans as the last remaining god of the planet. We devastate continent after continent in a rather uncanny First Testament way, showing not every god is Kumbaya all the way. With a limited amount of mana per turn, the battlefield gets filled with units, which strength is determined by their attack power and health, while their passive abilities become incredibly valuable during each battle. The enemies try to get to our shrine, with a destroyed one seeing our run and, like a teenager sex act, prematurely. Regardless of whether we win or lose, we receive a resource to spend in the talent tree to empower our overall stats, or unlock new shrines with different effects. Godless furthermore focuses on a clever use of the various terrains, like poisonous pools, lava pits or strongholds, empowering our units each turn, while our soldiers traverse the fields in auto movement and auto attacking patterns. With a price of $9.75, it had its full release in June 2024 and stands at a very positive review score, with a deeper dive into the game available in the top right corner, made by a handsome YouTuber, at least according to my mom. Equipped with up to 3 wand caps, shooting projectiles, laser beams or healing spells, we fight through quick and tough rooms and boss battles in Ascendant. Clearing rooms with the constantly changing wand caps, we open up chests for coins to spend with numerous NPCs, some also having chests of their own, while the major attraction of the game are the items we obtain. With 4 gear slots and 3 wand caps to equip, our game style constantly changes with better upgrades, seeing us shoot fast, chaotically flying projectiles or slow, devastating blobs, while we have to keep a keen eye on our mana points. With those being quickly used up by the more powerful ones, we need to perfect the parry timing, seeing us beautifully negate incoming damage, or not. With no real meta progression, the replayability might be questioned, but don't worry, there is enough content to go around, especially for the sweet price of $9.28. Regarding sweet prices, Just King is one that dabs even lower, going under the $5 mark, giving us enjoyable auto-battling runs and challenging control issues. Creating a fighting squad of up to 4 classes, we pick mages, archers, hoplites, rogues and many more, each with their own abilities, item slots and factions to benefit the whole team in the small and cramped arenas. Guiding through typical roguelike maps and 5 distinct biomes, we launch into battles, avoiding enemies as the king, while our team takes care of the few enemy waves. Spinning around as a group, we control where each fighter stands, attacking and killing incoming enemies to gain experience points as tokens, gold to spend in the shop after each fight, and power up every unit with special items, enhancing each one's abilities. With an addictive gameplay routine, the lack of meta progression gets easily compensated by the incredibly low price of $4.99, especially since you can actually play against other players in an online arena mode. So grab your team, upgrade them, and may God save the queen. Damn it, still not used to it. Since we spun around like a Beyblade in the last title, the next one is familiar ground, seeing us fight on the Gorgon Shield with, again, 4 heroes. With 4 possible exits to rotate to, the 4-sided shield is defended by heroes split into class types, with the goal to defend the shield from incoming enemy hits. Depending on which certain spot is occupied by a hero, the action of said hero changes, with some seeing melee hits being dealt, while others gather coins to spend during the few location changes. Like a helicopter, the rotation lets us climb up a tower while we level up our units, each with their own automatic attack and special ability we can activate by hand. With a handful of stats to improve and various side missions occurring every couple of levels, the replayability of Gorgon Shield gets boosted up with the occasional top-down labyrinth, seeing us rush towards the exit to further climb the tower. With the tough challenge being made easier through progression systems outside of the tower, Gorgon Shield has much to offer for the reasonable price of $8.79. Combining a chess-like theme with anime cosplaying cards sees WhatRogue, Exile land being the next title on this list. With a limited amount of mana each turn, we place units adjacent to our hero in form of board plates. Edging close on a grid-based battlefield sees us utilize the attack numbers of our units in the offense and hope they survive the retaliation of the enemies during their turn. With many different passive abilities, unique effects and damaging debuffs, we advance our deck with more cards and soldiers, while our hero forms the king on the board. If he falls, the run is over and we get to choose another hero to start with, while accompanied by the unit cards, we further have spells and equipment to utilize. With a very simple yet clever combat system and many nods towards various pop culture references,
it does rhyme with Pulverine.
WhatRogue Exile Land is a charming game to pick up for $6.89. Following a deck builder, we have a platforming roguelike next, called Zlime Return of Demon Lord. Similar to reskinned Kirby, we as a Demon Lord consume fallen enemies to transform into them, fighting through various biomes and gain powerful upgrades in the base, training with a very round Mr. Miyagi.
Wax on, wax off.
To utilize the base skills of our slimy form and empower the numerous abilities we get by eating monsters. Some let us fly and shoot feathers, while others see us channel the most Hadouken spell of Hadouken spells. With tough boss challenges to master and a backstabbing story to get behind, we single or double jump through puzzle levels, take down Pokemon-esque creatures in the hopes of transforming out of this slimy form for good, returning as the all-powerful Demon Lord. With a price tag of $6.89 and an incredibly positive review score on Steam, it is up for grabs and enjoyable as hell. Talking about hell, with the next game we delve down into the Norse hell and other realms to challenge colorful bosses and endless waves of enemies. Nordic Ashes, Survivors of Ragnarok sees us pick versatile and distinct heroes to drop down in numerous worlds, picking up new weapons, slaying monsters and gaining levels in a typical Vampire Survivors fashion. With a dodge bar and automatically activating skills, we enhance our combat power during the run with unique talent trees, while the meta progression can be found in Yggdrasil, enhancing our overall stats and unlocking new features. With waves being split by large boss fights and a visit to a shopkeeper with a gold coin pooping pet, we take on the Norse gods in numerous difficulty settings and clever replayability enhancers through daily challenges. Accompanied by leaderboards pitting us against other players, Nordic Ashes Survivors of Ragnarok gives us enough content to avoid our real-life duties for an affordable price of $8.99. The next game reminds me of my time in kindergarten, since in Pairs and Perils we are taking down enemies with cards, but these cards are only working if we match them in a memory set. Pairing two cards together sees them be activated, and depending on their effect, we either damage the enemy, help us identify more cards on the board, slow down the enemy's actions, and heal our health points, to name just a few examples. With our enemies eagerly awaiting our mistakes, they ready themselves with a countdown, which drops whenever we miss a pair. While our own cards have many effects, the enemies are not falling behind, giving us debuffs, limiting the usage of items we can obtain in the shop, and other vile actions we want to avoid. While the traversing on the roguelike map is small and as childlike as the gameplay itself, Pairs and Perils challenges us not only in the memory department, but requires us to strategize as well, with many more cards and heroes to choose from, each with their own special abilities. For $9.75 it can be yours, testing your brain, and in my case, realize that the time my father dropped me as a kid was probably a much bigger deal than everyone thought. Throwing, or rather shooting, a curveball, Rack and Slay lets us utilize all those pool skills we stacked up during the classic bar hangouts in an entertaining and shockingly addictive manner. With a limited amount of shots per turn, we try to sink the many different red balls into the various pockets, while dodging traps, picking up gold coins, and don't try to fall down ourselves. With the helpful indicator on where our ball is going, we pace our strength and launch forward, with the help and upgrades of various items we obtain and can also buy in the shop, conveniently popping up between every level. Those can increase our power to push heavier balls, throw bombs at the end of a shot, or see us reenact Roman Colosseum races with spikes coming out on each side, damaging our opponents. With bosses to beat, pockets to dodge, health to manage, and more in store in the actual store, Rack and Slay is a surprising entry. With the quite low price tag of $5.89, you can relive your glory days from back when a bar run ended in the morning and not at 9 PM. Last but not least is a completely new and currently $10 costing deck builder called Novus Orbis. Similar to Slay the Spire, we fight enemies in a card battling fashion, with a limited amount of mana per turn, while each card either resets or evolves the combo feature. Playing a card with the 0 combo marker gets our combo bar to 1, enhancing all cards with the number 1 combo marker, empowering their damage numbers or reducing the mana costs. With some setting this meter back and forth, we strategically plan out each turn, while every played card reduces the enemy's countdown timer, seeing them perform their telegraphed actions. This way, every played card is a double-edged sword, requiring us to strategize more than a war general. With the currently 2 playable heroes, we fight our way through portal-filled maps and numerous tough areas with plenty of enemies and bosses. Recently reviewed by none other than myself, content for Novus Orbis can be seen on my channel or experience for yourself for a neat price of $9.75. And these are 10 lesser known roguelike titles with a price tag of under $10. Was there something for you? Did you hit the like button? What is the square root of 49? Let me know in the comments and have a great day or evening.